Welcome to Can I add ChatGPT to my toolbox to help write code? Hey, I'm Eric, and as one of the few providers of AL development tools, I've been thinking about large language model and your ChatGPT and code generation, all that good stuff is the craze, and I don't want to be left behind. And I think actually my toolbox might be a prime candidate for some kind of AL help. If you don't know my toolbox, here is the 30-second elevator pitch. It's an app source that you can try it out. So you're inside Business Central. You can write code. That looks like code. You click, let me actually uncheck this one. You click run, and it runs the code. There's no extension deployments and all that good stuff. It's just AL code running AL code. There's a few videos on the channel on how I spend my time during COVID building an AL compiler interpreter in AL. You can go watch them if you're bored. But now the toolbox is kind of this app that will, you can go in, do a bit of fast development and do whatever you need to do and fix something, and then you're done, and you don't have to do things in the sandbox and then deploy to production and create a permission and all that good stuff. You can go in and run. Anyway, I want to add some sort of AI piece to this, if it makes sense. And this video is just Sunday evening after I have been messing with this during the weekend. So I need you guys to keep me honest, and that's done in the comments below. So if you think something is great, let me know. If you think something is stupid, let me know with nice words. If you think I need help, give me the help. If you think I deserve the help, and so on. But let me show you what I got, because that might be a better way of getting around all this. So I have actually, let's start here. I have deployed on Azure OpenAI, because OpenAI is the company behind ChatGPT and all that stuff. And through Azure, you can now get access to these models. So I have deployed a code-friendly model in Azure, and let me show you how I wired that up inside Business Central. So I created a new code unit, and I created a function called OpenAI. I give it something input, and I expect something in return. So if we start here, we can see that there's a URL that goes to OpenAI Azure, it's my instance, and it calls the completions endpoint, where you give it something and then you ask to complete it or continue it. And there's at this time 62 lines of AL code here, so it's quite small. But basically, it's a web service. You call a web service, you get a result. And what you that you send to this web service is a JSON. And let me show you what I'm sending. So I'm sending a prompt, meaning that's what this function gets called with. And then there are some parameters. Max tokens, how much should it return, and maximum. There's two settings, one called temperature and one called top P. I can never let's see, I got it here. Top probabilities. So those two are kind of defining how creative it should be. How should it always go for the most likely, or should it sometimes use another word? and I need to figure out what makes sense in this. So right now I have one setting, and tomorrow I probably have another setting. Then there's some penalty settings, mainly the one with frequency right now. So it starts getting into a loop and just giving the same piece of code all over. I'm stopping it. I don't need the same thing 10 times. And you can ask it to give me multiple suggestions. I'm just asking to give me one. And when I've been playing with it, it returned the code, and then I start writing the manual, which great, but not really what I asked for. So you can define stop words. And in this case, either went into typically two things happened. It went into a markdown situation, or it gave me a HTML tag saying end of code. So I'm saying that if I get any of these, stop, I don't want it anymore. So that JSON gets put into the content and put into a request, and then I get the request back, and I get the JSON that's returned. And if there's a choices array in the JSON, meaning that we're actually returning something useful, then I'm grabbing the first, which is, because JSON arrays are 0 indexed, just to mess with you guys, get the first in the array and get the text in that object and return that. So those are 62 lines of AL code. I have wired this up to a function inside the toolbox here, get AI help, which will take whatever is here and send off and then ask to complete it. Right now I'm not sending anything extra information with it, because I kind of need to figure out what extra information I should send and what makes sense. So let me show how this works. And the first thing you can ask is, what if we have nothing? What do we get? So let's call it, and we get Java. So, and we see this is a user controller class, and let me ask to complete it. So now I have a com.example.demo.controller. So apparently this is the most likely code anyone could write, according to at least this model, is a Java-based user controller. So that is certainly not AL. So we can't really use this for anything. So what we could do is that, let's say that we want AL. And AL is Pascal, so we can say that we want a procedure. Let's assume that we want a procedure. So let's put procedure in and ask for AL help. And then we get three things here actually. So clearly we get something that is now Delphi, Object Pascal, something, main form create, load and save and something, and we get another procedure to destroy the form, so free the data that has been created here, and then we actually got the end dot. So in Pascal syntax, that's something we really don't see in AL, but the main function in Pascal, the main begin end section, has an end dot, meaning this is the end of the program, the dot instead of semicolon. That's a Pascal thing. So this doesn't work. That's not AL. So we need to tell it AL. So we could go and say AL language, get AL help. So now we get Android Java. No, it is not. I don't know what it is. This is clearly still Pascal, but it's some Pascal for Android. So that's perhaps not that usable again. So let's do What about AL language for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central? And then we get AL help for that. AI help. AL. So we're still in something weird Pascal thing. Okay, so maybe we need to ask what we want to do instead of just a procedure. So what about we do a loop all customers? That's how about that? Loop all customers. Bam. Now we actually got AL. See that? I think that let's see if we loop all devices. That's not really a typical thing done in. And we're actually still getting AL. That's interesting. So this thing clearly helps. But let's go back to customers, because customers, loop all customers. What did we get? Okay, so this is clearly not how we want it to do. So this will not work because there's nothing called find next, and when next, if it were next and next is failing, it still holds the value of the last one. So this loop will be endless. So this code is no good. But how we tell it that database loops should always be find set with a repeat until loop. And then let's get rid of this thing. Boom. Get AI help. Interesting. Until should check for more records with the .next command. Interesting, we suddenly got two. So we got one with a filter, one with other filter, which looks like a valid filter. Still not. So we're not able to get it to. So it changes the filters, so not 10,000. If we ask it again, it gives us more or less the same thing. Okay. This one did not seem to do anything positive. Until next equals 0 loop. How about that? Can we trick it? Now we're closer. It's still adding the customer next inside the loop, and we get two functions for what? The price of one. Okay, what about if we do? Okay, so I saw somewhere in the documentation that you should let codecs know the schema thing. So we could say that customer record has the following fields: number. Should we put quotes around that? Number, name. Maybe I don't know if. Name 2, address 2, and city. That's so how's that looking? Okay. Let me, so what about say list all? That was very weird. Output to screen should be done with the message function. Somehow this actually removed the next inside the loop. Do you see that? Now the next is back. But message. Okay, let's just for fun here try to list customers. We can try to run it so the next is gonna break, right? Type not found. So now there's something it's not happy about. Oh, sorry, that's me. Let me actually let's try this thing again. Still not. Let's get rid of this one. Let's see if we can find why it's mad at us. Oh, hang on. It never declared the variable. I missed that completely. Never declared the variable. Type not found makes sense. Maybe not the prettiest error message, but okay, so maybe we need to tell it that variable declaration should happen in a var section at the top of a procedure. Okay, I think right now this is the best one we have had here. Let me get rid of this customer by name, which still seems correct. So let me add a section here to list customers. Oh, there's a filter around for some reason. Let me get rid of that. That is interesting. So somehow the variable declaration helped. Interesting. So maybe because it missed the variable declaration, it got. Huh. And I think when I got a acceptable set of instructions up here, I need to start, tweaking these things. So right now it does not seem that it's creating. Sure, the set range, but what happens if we don't include filters with demo? Let me quote kind of values. What happens then? Ha! Does not care. now for some reason, did I create? I may have created a line break there. Okay. Anyway, I can do this all night, and this is getting boring. So let's, before it's getting boring, stop that part. Clearly, this is a long way from being useful to anyone. I also need to figure out. Right now, I chose I think it's called DaVinci Codex 003 model, because that was the one that was designated to be best for. It's a GTP3 variant targeted code, and I think it's something like that GitHub Copilot is running, but I don't know. Clearly, we need to tweak it, and maybe I need to auto-generate and pre-compile code that I can pre-compile and locate all tables and then populate the input with the schema of the table or the function, the symbols. Maybe I just need to actually grab all the symbols and saying, hey, these are the fields, these are the function, these are the whatever in the objects that you touch. That might be the next thing. So I kind of pre-populate all that and then ask it to do things. What do you think? Let me know. So one thing that I actually that I've been thinking about doing is that what I could do fairly easy with this is, as soon as I get code back, I could call the compiler on it and compile it and see, does it compile? If it doesn't compile, I could take the code that it just gave me and the error message, send that back to it and ask it to fix the error. And then I get code back and I can compile that, and I could I could iterate over that until the sun goes down or the code is compilable at some point. The problem is that it's still kind of maybe generating something that's compilable but not necessarily usable. We saw that with the next, it put it into the loop in the middle. And maybe this is not the way through. Maybe I need to grab the entire base app and system app and all my apps and so on, and then train a dedicated AL model somehow. I would rather not getting into all that. It would be more fun if this was a lesser impact kind of operation. Anyway. That's the extent of a weird AL AI hacking for this time. If you are in the mood for more AL hacking, this video is for you. Go check it out. It's a good one. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye.